Tonight I want to talk about logic. Now, this is part of logic is almost universal. I mean, it's of universal applicability. Not least because the academic world is full of people who are advancing what is called ideology or theory. Now, I just noticed, for example, I mean, there's quite a lively debate on the internet about feminism and false rape accusation culture, and there's a lively debates about Judaism, Jewish politics, and there's a lively debate on gay politics, and it behooves me to remark that oddly enough, a logical critique, first of all, a simple logical critique of what certain people say hasn't been practiced. I mean, there's plenty of fighting and name calling and refutations going on, but I mean, I don't know why that in the academic world a simple, calm, logical analysis of what someone's trying to say is going to, of course, measure the importance of what they're trying to say. You see, well, what is logic? I mean, why is it important to be logical? I mean, there's this very ancient, there's a very, very ancient example of what's called a logical fallacy. That is to say, a logical mistake. For example, if you say all A is B, some people like to rush to the conclusion that all B is A. Now, this is wrong. It's what's called a fallacy. That is, it oversteps. It concludes too much. It concludes more than is contained in the original premise. Now, the all A is B. How do you reverse the order of B and A? In logic, there's two kind of schools of thought. One school says that an admissible conversion of the statement all A is B is simply some B is A. Like, all dogs have 4 legs. Now, you can't say all 4-legged animals are dogs, because you end up with absurdities. My cat has 4 legs, therefore my cat is a dog. So, you can't say all A is B, therefore all B is A. So some people permit only the conversion all A is B, therefore some B is A. And that is certainly contained in the premise. Other schools of logic say if all A is B, some logicians just don't permit any kind of conversion. And you could argue that if you say all A is B, therefore some B is A, perhaps you're losing information. Because, anyway, because if you say all A is B, therefore some B is A, but then you could actually convert. The only admissible conversion of some B as A is back to some A is B. So you've no longer, you've lost you've lost the you've lost information. So all A is B, but now you're back to some A is B. So that's why some logicians do not permit people to convert all A as B. But why is this important? Well, logic grew out of Greek grammar. And Greek's an inflected language, like German. Well, more inflected than German. In inflected languages like Latin and Greek, nouns, say, can have different endings depending on their case. And the case denotes whether it's the subject, the object of the sentence, whether it can be genitive or dative, and it's quite complicated. But the upshot is, if you can tag a word, a noun, say, with an ending indicating whether it's the subject or the object, you can permute the order of the sentence and not change the meaning. But in Greek grammar, the verb to be, A is B, say, both B and A are in the nominative case, which the nominative case denotes the subject of the sentence. So, I mean, normally the subject and the object are distinguished by the case, but not in this, the instance of the verb to be. And obviously, clearly permuting the order of nouns, subject and object, say, in a sentence with the verb to be, is going to... It was noticed by the Greeks that simply changing the order of A and B in a sentence with the verb to be in it, A is B, say, B is A. There was some of the results of this conversion didn't make any sense, or they presumed too much, or they concluded too little. So, the Greek rhetoricians denoted, they just sort of distinguished between all A, some A, and no A. Well, no A is B, so no B is A. See, so, and that's where logic arose, because obviously the act of just changing over the order of words can change the actual meaning, and so there were therefore admissible statements and inadmissible statements given an original premise. Now, this is where it all came from. Rhetoric was the science of transformations and synthesizations of propositions given other propositions, and that's called the famously known as the syllogism. Now, this is a point. This is now the most famous of these fallacies, as I said before, was the all A is B, therefore hastily concluding that all B is A, when it's not true in general, though it may be. So it's a question of precision. Now, this applies to the, for example, this sort of the feminist strategy, the feminist, sexual assault theory, legal, political sexual assault theory, which has been, stirring the pot in Western culture for the past 10, 20 years. My point is that what these feminist theorists are saying, they are using obvious, simple fallacies. For example, all rapists have sexual desire, therefore anyone with a sexual desire is a rapist. Or, all rapists have had sex, therefore anyone who has had sex is a rapist. Ridiculous, yes, but the feminists are actually doing this for political reasons. And as in my other talks on victim politics will show, trying to say all rapists have had sexual intercourse, therefore any man who's had sexual intercourse is a rapist, is what underlies this whole idea of rape in marriage, date rape, and these sort of what's getting really a lot of airtime on the sort of date rapes on college campuses, which turn out to have been sexual dalliances that were just regretted later. Maybe they were under the influence of alcohol and they get called rape. Now there's, obviously there's many people done a great deal of talking on this subject, but it must be remarked that these people are employing what are known as logical fallacies. I mean, they would get a 0. In a class of logic, they would get 0. Wrong. A fat wrong. Okay? All men are rapists. All rapists are men, all men are rapists. I mean, it's not logical, okay? It's hysterical. But, as I'm trying to say, if you redefine sex as rape, or furthermore, if you ultimately define all sexual desire as rape, you've basically vastly expanded the class of rape victims. Now almost every woman on the planet is a rape victim because they've had sexual intercourse. And sexual intercourse is some kind of feminist, Marxist, exploitation. So you've vastly expanded the class of rapists, and you've vastly expanded the class of rape victims. And then you can say, sort of, that there is a rape culture because, the vast majority of men are rapists because they've had sexual intercourse. And their victims, women, are, and you have a vastly expanded class of, exploited underclass of women. So, this is part of the whole victim political strategy, is to enlarge the demographic class of your movement, just like statistic stuffing, including everyone in the country as a member of your movement in order to exaggerate the importance of your movement. And feminists aren't the only people, to be sure, who are guilty of that.